We call this part of our curriculum Nature Explore, and it's an excursion that we do every single week from Daisies, Early Childhood Centre in Johnsonville. We made the decision that we would primarily just keep coming back and get to know one particular location, which is the closest mountain to Daisies. It's popularly known as Kaukau, but in fact Māori knew it in earlier times as Tarikaka.
Trying to see Daisy.
Today the children had been asking if they could get to the top of the mountain. So rather than going to some lookouts or staying in the stream and exploring in the stream, the children actually got all the way up to the top, to the tower which is the communications tower for Wellington, and they were very, very proud of themselves, and I am too, because that's the first time that has ever happened. So these were a group today of 4-year-olds, so that was exciting, them looking out and seeing the windmills, the tower from a different perspective, and just being incredibly proud of themselves, I think, for a very long walk, because they walked all the way from the centre. They'd already walked 1.5 kilometres before we began climbing. We're not instructional, we're in the bush. But the teachers can be quite intentional at times. So they will come in their minds, they're going to maybe introduce some more concepts in this bush trip, and when the occasion arises, a child expresses a bit of curiosity or stops and pauses and looks and wants to look out for the topography, for example, and then the teachers will pause and, you know, what can you see? What are you looking at here? Can you recognise? Today we could see the playing fields associated with Onslow College and Rarawa School, so they were then map making in their heads, they were working it out. So the children from a number of the different lookouts have developed that sense of the map of Wellington from on high, bird's eye view. Yes, we know about sight and hearing, and we often, you know, listen for the birds, the touch, the smell of the bush, light and shade. We've, as adults, increased our repertoire, if you like, of senses that we think about, and if that comes up, then we'll have a conversation about that with the children. So we might actually just affirm if they make a comment about, which they did coming into the bush, you know, about it being colder or hotter out in the sun or in the sun. So we're adding goals sometimes for the teaching team to listen out for that, and then add that little bit of knowledge in the appropriate moment. That was our goal last year, was to just be more conscious of more of the senses that human beings have, and just passing that on to the children.
What are some tips you have for teachers who would like to do their own nature explores in their schools?
Just get going with it, but we've been in ourselves as adults and explored the tracks beforehand. Well, it's a requirement now, but we wanted to do that anyway. So the head teacher, when we began these a few years ago, she and one other teacher went on a wilderness training weekend course, learned about things to do with the wilderness. We actually talk about the bush always, and the ranger that they talked to in that course said the word forest can be quite daunting to children from fairy stories, to call it the bush, so we do. That I think was an important tip that we were given. We've built it up slowly. We build up slowly for children who, when they enrol, so we start bringing the children out into maybe less challenging environments to begin with when they're very little, but we certainly take them out into nature and then gradually build them up and come into the bush. The first time we bring younger children into the bush, we invite and talk to the parents quite a bit about it. So a lot of the parents have come. We really do encourage it for the first trip, so that the child not only has familiar teachers, but a parent or a grandparent with them. The group that got to the top today, those have been with, most of those children have been in and out of this bush for 4 years with our Nature Explore curriculum. So the parents are very well aware then, but they're still pretty impressed. And they can be really going, oh wow, I didn't realise my child was so at home and so capable in this environment. Yeah. Probably one other comment I'd make is that the teachers feel like it's an absolute privilege to come out to actually spend a long period of time with just 8 children, because we only take 8 at a time. It is a privilege to actually be able to focus on children and be listening to them. So it's very rare when we're out in nature for the teachers to do much more than making sure that we're keeping ourselves safe, but to do more than just listen, go with the flow of the imagination. So to have hours like that is very unusual in an early childhood setting, but this happens every week, that you get to have this wonderful magical time with a group of children and get to know them in quite different ways. It's very special. Right, can we go to sleep on the mat now?
Thanks for watching Nap Time. Make sure to subscribe if you liked this video, and we'll see you next time.